Doug Weapon sat in his dimly lit apartment, the glow of his monitor casting long shadows across the cluttered desk. The empty takeout container beside him reeked of cold fries and grease, but he barely noticed. His fingers hovered over the keyboard as he hesitated before typing, "The Dwelling Gods." 100 results flooded his screen: fringe blogs, pseudo-academic articles, and speculative threads, but none of it felt substantial. He exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. This wasn't enough. There had to be more. He refined the search. The Dwelling Gods plus Trismegistus. The usual mix of esoterica popped up: Hermeticism, lost priesthoods, the Emerald Tablets. Doug scrolled, eyes skimming past the noise until something made him freeze. A name he hadn't expected. Ephraim M. Winter. Doug's heart thudded in his chest. He had encountered that name before, always at the periphery of deep forum discussions, a ghostly scholar referenced but rarely quoted. The man was either a recluse or long dead, but his writings existed in whispers across forgotten corners of the internet. Doug clicked on the link. The page was an archived forum post dated years back. The layout was archaic, the background black with green text like something out of a hacker film. The post title read, "The Dwelling Gods, the Sunken Gate, a Warning." Doug swallowed hard and began reading. Those who seek to understand the dwelling gods misunderstand them first. They are not myths, nor are they deities in the sense our ancestors described. They are a pattern, a recurrence. They have slept beneath the sea and beneath our own minds, waiting. But they do not dwell as we do. They persist. They exist beyond time as we perceive it. The sunken gate was their passage, and it is no longer sealed. Pillar 83 dismissed the notion, but they lack the texts I have studied. They refuse to see that the principles of Trismegistus align too closely with the sigils found at the anomaly. The 7 principles were not philosophical. They were warnings. A locked door mistaken for a metaphor. I implore anyone reading this, leave it alone. Some knowledge is meant to remain buried. We are not its intended keepers. Doug exhaled sharply. The post had no replies, no interactions. It was as if it had been left for someone specific, waiting. He checked the forum history. Ephraim had only posted a handful of times over a decade, but one username stood out among the sparse interactions. Pillar 83, a connection. Doug sat back, pulse hammering. Ephraim wasn't just some crank. He knew something. And if Pillar 83 had dismissed him, that meant this wasn't common fringe nonsense. This was contentious knowledge. His excitement warred with dread. He had wanted a perfect nugget to spring on Miranda tomorrow. Now he wasn't sure if he should tell her at all. The hairs on the back of his neck rose as he stared at the final words of Ephraim's post, the cursor blinking below it like an unspoken challenge. Some knowledge is meant to remain buried.